listening to Kane and Randy on Scratch the Vinyl.
Scratch the Vinyl.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Scratch the Vinyl podcast. You made it back for another week, and I am so glad that you did. And, you know, I got to say, it's a little bit weird right now because I don't have my partner in crime here in studio. He's not even in Lincoln, but he is somewhere special and he is somewhere cool. And we just happened to catch him before he's going out there and doing something big. So let's bring him on right now. He is the Chill Man himself, my brother from another mother, Randy, Mr. Chill Wilson. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Well, I'm a little sad that I'm not going to be able to stay in studio with you today, but I'm in the glorious city of, or what they call the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, where I'm bowling the National Bowling Tournament today. So, you want to get a little glimpse of my skyline, Kane?
Yeah, let's see that thing. I see your room there. Let's see. I'm glad there's no donkeys or sheep hiding out back there. You got a nice little room. Let's look at this here. Wow.
I'm on the 32nd floor. This is overlooking downtown Reno. It's a beautiful sunny day, and I'm about to take the lanes.
Man, I'm so envious. It sucks here in Lincoln. I'm going to be honest. It rained and stormed all night. It's a nasty, mucky mess up there, and your backdrop looks amazing.
Well, I will tell you, I'll keep this music related. They have built a new arena here for music, and I've actually had the opportunity to come here a few times. I saw Ozzy Osbourne here when they first opened the arena here, and then I came for the Eagles opening night here. So I've had a little musical experience here in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, Reno's it's one of those places that is a destination, but people always get lost in the Vegas thing, right? But I mean, Reno's got a ton going on, and man, what a couple amazing shows those really are to go to. I mean, those are no flash in the pans. We're talking about the greatest to ever do it.
Well, I just want to say, great job on all of our editing this last week. Man, we have had some amazing shows here on Scratch the Vinyl. And, dude, you're killing it. We're killing it. We appreciate the Scratchaholics out there following us. We just got a lot going on.
We do. And, it's been fantastic. And I just continue to say it, Randy. It's been a wild ride. And the ride continues, my friend. The ride is not over. It has only just begun, as the most beautiful Karen Carpenter once said. So we are just we're hitting our stride right now. I hope that you hit your stride with bowling today and you knock down those darn pins because I know, and everybody who knows you in that capacity knows that you're a champ, my friend.
Well, I'm definitely not as good as I used to be, but this is my 40th year in a row to bowl the national event. And, it's always special to me because we travel all over. I've seen so many great cities because of bowling and bowling the national event. It's been in Reno several times. So I've been here quite a few times. So I know my way around. But I tell you what, why don't you let everybody know what we got going on today? Who's our guests and what they can expect?
Well, we've got a multi-instrumentalist. He's a producer here in Lincoln. He's been in multiple bands. He's currently in the band Within Wilds. We have the great, the unbelievable, the mysterious Josh Hillers, everybody.
All right, Kane. Well, I'm off to knock down the pins. You hold the fort down here and Scratch the Vinyl, and can't wait to see you next time.
Remember this, everybody, all the bowlers out there, and Randy. All right, the great Toby Keith said this one, which is, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. So remember that, everybody.
As I ever was.
All right, my friend. Well, have a good time. Good luck to you, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, Kane. Hold down the fort.
All right, everybody. That was Randy, Mr. Chill Wilson. We wish him the best of luck doing the whole professional bowling thing in Reno. I, once again, am super jealous because it looked really cool there and really awesome. And not that Lincoln isn't awesome. I love it. I'm enjoying a nice oceanside view right now somewhere in my mind. So, but now, like we referenced before, we have a great guest as always. And this show is going to be no different than any other one. This one is going to be great. And we found some more, what I like to call Nebraska talent, local, at least because they're here. And so we're going to dive into it right now. Let's talk to Josh Hillers. Josh, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Man, so you've been doing a lot. I mean, when I looked at your bio and I kind of dove into the music, which is my favorite part. I mean, you are a man wearing a bunch of hats, my friend. I mean, you're producing, you're playing all sorts of instruments, you're drumming for Within Wilds. You're doing a ton, my friend. You're also a sound engineer, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to give myself a title of that, but yeah, I mean, I've done some of that work for some bands and helped out. Like at Music Box, that's been a great place. So you've talked about it on the show, so I'm not going to go super in depth, but it's a great spot. I've got a membership there that it's been really nice to be able to use and record and help other bands that maybe don't have memberships record and actually learn how to like properly record instead of recording just in a basement with like one microphone type of stuff. So it's nice to just have all that. So yeah, getting into that more recently too, for sure.
Well, that's the hardest part about it all. I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of us, like myself, we started by, like trying to record through like the tape deck, right? We started recording through anything we could pop a mic in front of us, and we had to try to figure it out ourselves. I mean, I'm a basement warrior. I can't afford the studio. I figured, I had some different people who I know are producers who showed me how to record and do things. And even though I may not have the best gear in the world, I put out some pretty good quality stuff. And that's the fun thing about it, isn't it? Is that it's just the process of how far do you want to go, right? So like for you with the Music Box, that's interesting to me because we have talked about it, but you are, everyone who's there is given the opportunity to use some of this really great equipment, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. If you have a membership, you can use it however you want. So yeah, they've got, you walk in there and there's a stage, right? And so you think, oh, this is a show venue. But if you pull that video wall back behind there, there's a studio set up and it rolls out and they've got all these super expensive microphones and compressors and all these things, interfaces in there that you can plug in like, I don't know, 20 mics at once if you wanted, probably maybe more even, and really get some good quality stuff out of that. They've got like every DAW you could probably want loaded up on the Mac that's in there, and yeah, it's really, really nice to have access to crazy stuff that I would never even be in the same room as because of the cost and everything that goes into it. So it's nice for sure.
What's cool to think that something like this is in our backyard. Something is right here. Because I know when we talk to artists from other places, from Des Moines, from Omaha, they're like jealous when we tell them what the city has done. And so, I mean, I really got to applaud all the people who were a part of this. We had Todd Ogden on. I would love to get the mayor on and talk to them about it and give them a nice big pat on the back and tell them, thank you from the music scene here in Nebraska and in Lincoln for really believing in what we're doing here. And you're a prime example, Josh, of what we are doing here. I mean, I look at you as a massive talent. And you, amongst many people in this city, there's so many talented people here that I feel that we have kind of like a mecca going. And I don't just think that because I live here or that I'm a part of the scene. I truly do believe that. I mean, I've seen what has happened in other scenes. I've talked to people in other scenes, and it almost feels like they just don't have it like we have it. So I just feel like we have a massive momentum going on now.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge, the number of bands. Just, Lincoln Exposed wasn't that long ago, and Lincoln Exposed is like the one of the peak examples of like just how many artists we have of all the different genres and talent levels and experience levels. You see bands that it's their first time playing Lincoln Exposed, and bands that have been doing it for as long as Lincoln Exposed has been around, probably. And it's crazy that, I mean, you get over 100 bands there, and those are just the bands that were able to fit on that, on that event. And so, it's huge how many there are. It's you start digging, and you find a lot really quickly.
Well, let's talk about let's dive into you in the scene and music. So let's kind of rewind here. I like to do this because honestly, that's kind of the crux of this show. It's not just about vinyl. It's about really highlighting people in Nebraska. And really, I mean, we talk to people all over regional, national, but we really like to highlight the people around us. And so let's dive into you now, and let's just start. I mean, we don't have to, well, I was born and then I peed my pants and then I did all this, but we can get into like, when did you start realizing that you wanted to be a musician and what got you into it?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those kids that, in fifth grade or whatever, I got into band, and I started playing percussion in band and did that all through school, marching band, all that stuff. And then, around high school, when you start figuring out, who you are a little bit more, I think, for most people, I came across the guitar and taught myself how to play it, and ended up getting myself a drum kit and just started doing that sort of stuff. Put a band together it was just a 2-piece, another drummer, and I played guitar, and just started going from there. Started figuring it out, I guess, making whatever I could figure out how to make, and played in a few other bands. I sang in a band for a couple years, and was in a few other little things here and there over the years. But now I've been in Within Wilds playing drums for time flies, but probably 12 or 13 years now. We kind of reimagined ourselves a little bit after COVID, because that put a pause on everything, and we got a new bassist after that back in like 2024, and it's almost like a new band. The style's pretty similar, but with a new bassist and kind of a new mindset toward actually like putting in work and making sure we're playing more consistently, and challenging ourselves to write more stuff, and be more interesting, have a broader scale, I guess, overall. So that's kind of my musical journey up till now. I've made some solo stuff too. I've got in COVID, you can't meet up with other people in that time, right? And so I got into like making beats, instead of it's a lot easier to do if you can't get with other people to just do it all on the computer, right? So you open up a program, a DAW that you can make the beats, and I can't really play a piano, like really, but I can make it sound like I can play one if I put it in a DAW like that. So yeah, experimented with a lot of different things over the years.
Well, that's a blast. I mean, I too, during the COVID times, got into writing just instrumentals and beats and things. And it's a lot of fun to pop the midis in and just mess around with all the sounds. I mean, I personally use Ableton for mine. Everybody has their own go-to. And for those who don't record, they're going to glaze over now and wonder what the hell we're even talking about. But, you are, especially Within Wilds, and basically a lot of your catalog is very instrument heavy, and there are vocals on some, but I mean, like what you're doing with Within Wilds is a instrumental band. And so what are the challenges with that? I don't see any. I mean, there's so many bands like Pure Brown and all these bands that really aren't they don't need somebody to sing, and neither do you guys to really get your point across. But are there any challenges to winning people over with that, or how have people received it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it is something that we have to acknowledge that a lot of people connect with words. I mean, everybody's used to, it's one of those things that's just convention right now, is like in your mind, you picture a rock band and it's a singer and then a guitar player and then a drummer and a bassist. Like that's like the iconic view of what a band should be. And that's kind of in our culture. But you think about back in classical music, before you had pop music of any kind, all music was instrumental. So it's like a cultural thing. Everything's just cultural and what you're used to. And so, yeah, there is a little bit of a hurdle sometimes I think with people when you're playing instrumental music, or even, my band Horch, we were a two-piece and I did a little bit of singing when I played guitar, but we also just kind of jammed and like made stuff up and improvised a lot. And so I wasn't improvising vocals very often. I was just improvising guitar. So there'd be long stretches of instrumental in that too. And so a lot of people, I mean, they might not dislike it, but you get compliments like, that's really nice background music, or, things like that, where it's kind of like, okay. But to me, and I think we probably connect maybe more with musicians because musicians make music and they kind of have a deeper understanding of it. But, at the same time, there's, Pink Floyd was really popular and had long even instrumental tracks too. So it comes down to that's kind of where we pull from a little bit too, is that like prog rock sort of era where it was like going back to like the point of the music is the music. I've always had the thought that if you're here for the lyrics, that's great. Great lyrics are awesome. I love great lyrics. I actually got a major. My major was in English. I have a degree in English. And so I did a lot of writing, and my emphasis was on creative writing, and I wrote a lot of like poetry and short stories and things like that. And so I love words. I'm all about words. But music is a different thing. I mean, I could go listen to poetry and listen to those words and examine those words and love that. But when I go to see a show, I'll be honest, my ears, a lot of shows you can't hear the words very well if you don't know the song already. I mean, if the sound isn't just right, you got your earplugs in, because we're all protecting our ears at shows, right? So anyway, you got your earplugs in. And, sometimes the words aren't coming through the mix very well, but you can still hear the melodies. You can hear the guitar. You can look at the guitarists and see what they're playing. And you can hear a lot of the music a lot more, especially live. And so that's where the music is what should be first in my mind. And the lyrics are the cherry on top, the whipped cream on top, that if you've got good lyrics on top of really good music, that's magical too. But we still get just as much magic without any words at all. That's my opinion on it.
Well, have you ever tried like kind of like the Doors thing? Like I had an idea that I wanted to do where like on a couple of my early albums that I released that are kind of just out there in the ether and I don't have them. I had some poetry set the music type stuff, right? Where I would recite a poem to the music that I had written to it. And I wanted to do a full album of it. But then when I brought it up to people, they kind of like, they kind of gave me the kind of like, oh, like, wait, what? Type thing. Cause they're used to like the other thing. But have you ever wanted to do that? Because I mean, you're a creative writer like myself. I love that form, but what would you do if you did that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you digged in my old hard drives, I've got some tracks that are basically that, right? Where I like have I can remember a couple where it's like I wrote a poem and then I was like, well, what if I just did this like spoken word and then just put some kind of background music behind it? Like, yeah, I've absolutely done that. And yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of the stuff. There's so much music out there, so many genres out there that are not mainstream, right? And that's the sort of thing. Like the Doors kind of did it, and you can find a little bit of it here and there, but some of that stuff is just not the forefront of what's popular, especially maybe right now. Maybe there was a time when it was more popular, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. I mean, people are still going to do it, and you're going to find that niche. Hopefully, especially with the internet now, it's easier to connect with people, and hopefully you can find that niche and find the people who do want that and do connect with that. But yeah, that's a totally valid way to do it too. For sure, a valid style.
Well, I think the album that I'm even referring to is what was it? An American Prayer, which was a Jim Morrison and the Doors album, but it was so different because there was a lot of poetry. And I think that when I first heard that album, I mean, it literally blew my mind. Like I was out fishing, just enjoying the wilderness and outside, and I popped that on, and I never really sat down and listened to that album all the way through. And it really like inspired me. Like, I want to do that too. I mean, I want to put some of my poetry out there. I've always wanted to write a poetry book just in general, because I mean, poetry I feel is such a great form. And I know some lyricists, they hate calling themselves poets. They think it's pretentious, but I think that we are poets. I think that lyric writers in general, it is all poetry. Music is poetry.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. Like I was saying, I mean, that's what you're doing is you're writing a poem and then you're putting music under it. And then, when we think of poetry, their words, and a lot of times poetry is read, and not people might not be going to see live poetry a whole lot. It exists. So if people listening are like, oh, does it? Oh, could I go see that? It totally does. So please go find it. Crescent Moon in town has open mic nights. There are tons of places that do it. So it exists, but it's not at the forefront of our society, our minds right now. But yeah, I mean, that's literally what it is. It's just you're putting more melody to it. And I'm even saying more melody to it because when you do see live spoken poetry, there's whoever's reading it is going to put a certain melody to it. It may not be like singing per se, but it's going to have a rhythm to it at the bare minimum. There is a rhythm to poetry. I mean, we call it meter, right? If you study poetry, it's meter. That's the same thing. It's just another word for the rhythm of the words, the speed that you say the words. And yeah, the tonality of the words, you're going to say a certain way, especially the person who wrote it. If you're reading someone else's out loud, you might not read it the same way as the person who wrote it would have said it out loud. And that's okay. But again, it is. I mean, it's all kind of not the same thing, but it's very similar. It's a lot closer than I think people maybe give it credit for.
Well, I catch myself like when my favorite part of getting an album is like when I rip it open, and my fingers can't even contain themselves, and I pull it out, and then they have the lyrics on, and I look through the lyrics and I think about it, and I start reading it, and it doesn't sound the way I thought it did, like I got it. But then you have to actually listen with intention and listen to how the lyricist spit it out, and then it all makes sense. So that's kind of the fun of it all.
You can see the words, and those words can be the most amazing words you've ever read. But then when you hear the words and the way they are said and the speed that they're said and the cadence to them, I mean, again, the word cadence is a word that has a musical meaning and a word meaning. So it all blurs together so much at times, for sure. But it's just like adding another layer to the words. You've got the words, and then you've got the way they're said, and it's just like music. You've got a rhythm and a melody. You just layer all these things on top of each other, and it just builds that much more. I mean, visual art's the same way. If you paint something, you add more colors, and you're just going to have all these different layers that add to the equation that give you the full picture of what it is.
Out in the wild, there's one creature feared by hunters, admired by lumberjacks, and envied by hipsters.
Yeah, it's me, the elegant Sasquatch. Let me tell you, these locks don't tame themselves.
Introducing the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company. Beard oils, butters, and washes so good, they'll make your face smell like you wrestled a cedar tree while sipping fine whiskey.
Last week, a hiker followed me for 3 miles just to ask what cologne I was wearing. Joke's on him. I don't wear cologne. I wear the Gentleman.
Upgrade your beard game. Sophisticate your outer beast. Find the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company at elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com.
And stop stealing my jerky!
Well, let's switch gears here now, and let's talk about something that you have coming up that's I think is pretty big. So you have a festival per se coming up. Let's talk about that. It's the Speak No Evil Festival coming up May 16th at Duffy's and Bodegas. 2 unbelievable venues. It's going to be what I've read through it. It's going to be all instrumental bands. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. So we have gathered together a whole bunch of instrumental bands from around Nebraska. A lot of them Lincoln, of course, but we've got some Omaha, and we've gathered as many of them together as I could find, basically. And yeah, it's just going to be a night of all instrumental music, and it's going to be a really broad range. So that's, that sounds like it's maybe limiting, but at the same time, if you go and listen to these different bands, there's going to be a pretty broad range of genres and styles across the night. So, for example, Mobius has kind of that jazzy rock sort of style to it. And then we've got, Whip Sigils, for example, who they take old Renaissance songs and they turn them into sort of like rock ish arrangements. Or then there's my band, who kind of got that prog rock, a little bit of doom elements to them in there. So it's going to be kind of all over the place. And then there's a surf rock band from Omaha, Subvectors, that are going to be on. So it's going to be all over the place for sure. But yeah, the overarching theme is that there aren't going to be any singers the whole night. Which, again, being in an instrumental band, it was, as much as we've talked about instrumental music and how much I think the music should be at the front of everything first. It's been a kind of a dream come true to be able to put this together for sure. So it should be a lot of fun.
I hope this becomes like a regular thing. I hope this becomes just like Lincoln Calling and, Lincoln Exposed. I think this is a really great idea. So give me the players behind who kind of started all this. Let's talk about all that and get a little bit more behind it.
Right. Yeah. So it was kind of an idea that I had just had, again, being in an instrumental band. One of my inspirations is the Machete Archive, again, here in Lincoln, a prog rock instrumental band that's been around for over a decade. Awesome, incredible band, very talented musicians. And they kind of were the ones, I saw them play, and I was like, oh my gosh, you can do this? Like you can be like a 3-piece instrumental band in Lincoln, Nebraska, and like do it for real. Like, is it like we can do this in Lincoln? And so that's kind of like why my band exists, kind of. And so I always had the dream of like, well, I want to play with them. And then it's like, well, there are all these other instrumental bands. Like, what if we try to get more of them together and like get a whole bunch of them all at once? And then it's like, well, that's a festival, isn't it? And so I met up with Rod, aka Caterpillar. He's a DJ on 97.3 The Source, and he was hosting and still does host shows to help support the radio station. And I ended up connecting with him, and we played one of his shows, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing these shows. They got like 4 band shows, but I kind of want to start doing festivals. And I was like, well, I got an idea for a festival. I don't know that it'll ever happen, but this is my kind of dream. And he's like, well, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's. And so it just kind of started rolling from there. I connected with some of the bands, and he helps with a lot of the promo stuff and doing some of the other stuff. And so that's kind of the two of us for the most part is kind of where it comes from. And so, we started working on it last year. Even is when we started the plans and started connecting with bands to make sure that we could get it together and make it work. And now we're getting pretty close to the event itself. So,
well, this will be a good advertisement, for that, and to get it out there. I'll definitely be sharing, and hopefully I can even make it out there. Fun fact, I was actually one of the OG original hosts with Rod on the Black Dirt radio show back that was online. We were with us two and then Mark Oberhauser. And, we used to just kind of do our radio segments, play some music, do the whole thing. And then, we all kind of went in our other directions. But I got to say, shout out to Rod. I love Rod Caterpillar. He actually played one of our benefits. What was it, a year or so ago for Willow, who has spina bifida. And, I love the guy so much. He's a cool guy in general, California guy. You can just, I don't know, there's a great energy to Rod. So you're in good hands with that. And I'm glad to see you guys doing this. Like I said, I hope that this is a yearly thing. And I love the idea. I just came back from my son's jazz tournament. They had a state jazz tournament in Omaha, and he goes to Pound Middle School. They took second place, shout out to in the state. And I go to these competitions, and I mean, I love it. I mean, I sit there the whole day. All these parents, they kind of move in and out, as soon as their kid's done, they leave. I stay and I listen to all the other bands because, man, what a day to me to be able to just appreciate and hear jazz and just enjoy it. So if I get any of that joy out of listening to those instrumentals that I do listening to all of you talented people for a night, I honestly can't wait.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with going a little bit back to Rod. I mean, he is that type of person that you meet him and you just immediately can tell that he loves music so much. And his show now is on Tuesday nights, and he airs a lot of local music. So any local band people watching right now, if you connect with him, he's always happy to play new stuff from local artists. He's playing a lot of the stuff right now from the festival. So if you're kind of curious what you might hear there, he's been playing a lot of the bands that are going to be playing the festival on the show as well. And he kind of plays whatever he wants to in between, but lots of good stuff. It's a fun program to listen to because it's really good stuff all around.
Well, yeah, shout out to Rod once again and the Black Dirt Experience. And that is on what is that on the FM dial again? Is
it's 97.3 The Source.
The Source, that's right.
Yeah.
So so are they fully on the air now, or are they online right now?
I think right now they're online. Yes, I don't think that their broadcast is up and running at the moment. I don't know all the details on that, but you can definitely just go to their website and listen to it, or there are like streaming services like Roku and stuff. You can listen to it. I've turned it on my TV and like had it on in my living room that way too. So yeah, lots of ways to listen.
Man, well, I miss those guys. I had a great time being a radio host with them, and spent many nights in Rod's studio laughing and just enjoying the love of music. So I can't think of a better ambassador for it all. So that's going to be great, everybody. So we got to point you to this once again. That's going to be May 16th, correct? And that is going to be a night of instrumental music like you guys haven't seen in a long time, and I think everybody should try to go. Are there what sort of ticket sales or anything, like, do you have any idea on that?
Yeah, so you just go to Duffy's website. You can get tickets early. It's $12 to see all the bands across both venues. So it'll be, again, like you mentioned, like Lake and Exposed, where you'll be able to go between both venues all night long. I've got still working on the schedule a little bit, but it's going to be set up pretty well to where the music is never going to stop. So if you don't want to take a break, once one band stops, you turn around, go to the other venue, someone will be playing. So it'll just be all night long. So $12 pre-sale, and then if you wait until you show up at the door, it'll be $15 at the door.
Man, Lincoln, are you paying attention out there? This is exciting, everybody. I mean, we were so pumped about Lincoln Exposed as it happened. And if the energy in the room, and by the room, I mean this city, it feels absolutely incredible. It just feels like there's new life, and it's not just the construction things going on. Don't let the new construction and everything scare you away or fool you. There is so much going on in this town. Another thing, we've been talking to all the musicians about, and I don't know if you're on yet, Josh, is Noisel. Have you heard of Noisel yet? The new
I've
app?
heard about it. Yeah, I listened to your show, and I saw some other posts about it even before you started mentioning it, actually. And I haven't put in the work to see what it takes to get on there as a musician myself, but I've definitely heard of it, and it sounds like a pretty good deal. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward as another way to get people to hear your music. So yeah.
Well, there's even talk from the people who are putting it together of like the speaker system downtown, right? Where you'll be able to hear like we'll be walking down with grandma and everybody hand in hand, and that sounds like me on there. I mean, that's a pretty cool deal, man. I just think that that's awesome. And when I talk to other people about it from other scenes, they start salivating. You know what I mean? Like they're like, I wish that was with us. I wish we had that here. And you could, but or you could just come here. I just like the energy that's happening. I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm a pretty old musician now. I'm in my 40s, and I mean, we were going to house shows, right? We were doing all this stuff when we were younger. It's not that the venues weren't there, but like the kids, I'll say, when they just wanted to play and they just wanted to perform, we would go to the whatever that shelter was, right by Wendy's or whatever, by the university. We would go to the shelter at Antelope. We would go to all these places, but now we have like venues that we can go to, like the Music Box, like all of these places. But what growing up for you with who were some of the early bands, especially not just nationally, but like locally, that really blew your mind?
Yeah, I already mentioned Machete Archive. Again, they're a big one. But if we go back to the beginning, back Knickerbockers being around, and you get old enough that you can start going to 18 and over shows. The very first show I ever went to after I turned 18 and could start going was a band called Eyes Catch Fire. They were around back then, and they were a really, really good band that I enjoyed a lot back in those days, and it was just a lot of fun. Again, going into Knickerbockers basically for the first time, a show by myself. This kid. I mean, I was 18, but I was still a kid. Walking in there and just being like, what is this? I had been to some of the bigger shows, like in arena shows here and there a little bit when I was in high school. And that's what you think of as shows, right? Is you think it's this big arena and there's going to be some lights and pyrotechnics, maybe even, and you're going to be probably in the nosebleeds and whatever else. But then you show up to Knickerbockers and I'm thinking I got to show up early and all this stuff so I can, whatever. And you walk in there and it's just like, I can put my hands on this stage here. Like I can touch this. And then you got the monitor right in front of you and the singer's doing his thing and he comes up and he puts his foot on the monitor and it's right here by my face. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Like I'm in there. Like I'm in this music right now. And then I saw them a bunch of times and he kind of knew that I knew a lot of the words. So he'd put the mic in front of my mouth, during the choruses and all that stuff. And that's what I love out of shows is just like making eye contact with the band and like being there. So yeah, Eyes Catch Fire was a big one back in the day for me for sure. I'm a big fan of Red Cities also. They were the first band. I've got their shirt on. There it is. But they were the first band that Within Wilds ever played a show with at Old Pub. Again, 12, 13 years ago. They're looking for a drummer right now. If any drummers out there looking for a kind of a punk band, they're great. Been around a long time. Really cool. group. Again, really nice guys. They invited us to play that first show, and we played a bunch of shows with them since because they're good people. So yeah, those are some of my favorites for sure.
Well, man, you just unlocked some core memories for me. Just the very mention of Knickerbockers, just like I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. Man, I saw so many great shows there, but the cool thing about Knickerbockers is you could maybe catch some of your favorite bands just kind of hanging out there in the back of the room, like just standing there. I can remember going to see Soulfly and Factory 81 there, and they're just hanging out. They're just standing in the back of the room, and I got to talk to them. And then as Soulfly was playing, they're playing Eye for an Eye, and I know their album in entirety. So I'm up there in front. I push my way to the front, and I'm screaming and getting into it. And I get that moment, man, where he points the mic right to my face, and I know every word. And it was just like, I mean, I will never forget that. I think that might have even launched me into wanting to really be a lead guy, like a vocalist. And so, it's those memories that, God, I miss that venue. And I hate the fact that I know it's great for Lincoln, but I hate what it is now. I just wish we could kind of like pick it back up and just like stuff it in that area once again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard seeing a hotel there, right? I mean, nothing against hotels, I guess, but like I'm gonna pick Knickerbockers over a hotel every day, every day of the week, But that's kind of the hope, though. I mean, we still have a lot of great venues. I'll always miss Knickerbockers, but I mean, you can get those same experiences at the Bourbon and Duffy's and all those places, bodegas, all those places downtown for sure, and even Music Box. I mean, Music Box is. It's all ages, so it's the same deal. You see a show there, and it's there's no alcohol on the premises and things like that. It's not a bar at all. So hopefully people 18 and even younger could even have that first experience like I did there. Having that, being able to be, it's not a huge venue. It's on the smaller side, and so you can be right there in front. It always blows my mind a little bit when I'm at a show and maybe there aren't a ton of people there, but the ones who are 30 feet away from the stage, I'm like, there's nothing stopping you from taking a few steps forward and being right there. I mean, I promise you the volume's not going to be that different. Like you're going to hear it about the same, but you can have that connection with the band that much more. I mean, as a drummer myself, drummers sometimes get pushed into the back, even the back of the stage, right? And I try to set up so if anybody who's seen us, I try to set up in a little unconventional way where I'm a little closer to the front. But as any band member is going to tell you, it's kind of nice when people are right there and you can see like who's jamming out to your music. It's nice to actually see that because it feels good for us. It feeds both of us, right? We're feeding you that music. And when you're giving us that energy and you're right in front, even if you're just kind of bobbing your head, we can see you. And then, we get that energy back and it makes it that much more fun for everyone in the room. The thing again about arena shows is those bands are great. They deserve to be playing in front of millions of people. And that's awesome. But I would bet that some of them would tell you, if you could get an interview with some of them that are playing these huge shows, that they wish they could see the faces of those people in the nosebleeds. They probably wish they could. That's something they're missing out on. And there's no reason that as a show goer, you can't have that at these local shows.
An arena is a different animal. I mean, I went to Greta Van Fleet at the arena, and man, it really, I love Greta Van Fleet, but it really just blew my mind all around to really how great they are. I kind of get tired of people. I'll talk to you about this. I don't know do you like Greta Van Fleet, just to open up?
Yeah, I do. I know there's a lot we could talk about with them, but the short answer, yes, I do enjoy their music, and I love Led Zeppelin also. And those two things can be true in a human being. So go ahead.
The two things can't exist. And there's these camps out there that want to think that, they'll say Greta Van Fleet is the greatest Led Zeppelin cover band. You know what I mean? I mean, and they sound very, the singer sounds very Zeppelin-like. And But is that a bad thing? Like what I like to do, I like to play little games where I listen to Led Zeppelin and then I pretend, okay, that Greta Van Fleet is Led Zeppelin, like the newer albums, and I like to listen to it that way just for fun. And it's actually fantastic. But when we're talking about talent, though, I mean, the show that band put on, and I know that I visited this when I went because I was beaming at that point on the show, but it was nothing short of amazing. Like it was up there in my probably top 15, and I've seen thousands of shows, I don't want to, I got to save the top spots for when I saw Smashing Pumpkins and they played for 4 hours. I mean, it's my favorite band. It is what it is, they played it all, but it was amazing. But I just don't know. I don't know why people get so hung up on Greta Van Fleet and almost act like they suck. Like, have you listened to the albums? Like, do you get as worked up as I do when people when they're playing at that high of a level and someone says, yeah, they suck, but yet they don't play any music whatsoever? I mean, obviously everyone can have their opinion, but sucks. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big person that I'm generally not going to say that anybody sucks, right? Like we were all somewhere at some point. I mean, I'm not popular enough for anybody to hate me, maybe. So but somebody could hate on me, right? They could listen to my music, and I could even say some of my old stuff, especially. I could go back and listen to something old and be like, this wasn't very good. Why did I put this out? And we're all somewhere sometime. But yeah, I mean, when you get to that level, it's taste. It's not they suck. It's just you don't like the vibe. Don't say that they suck. That's just a cop out. Saying a band is bad because you don't like them, that's just it's a psychological thing that you just don't want to say. I'm not into this band. I don't like this vibe. I don't like this style of music. And you can there might be big bands out there that you can objectively say, well, on a technical level, their music isn't whatever. But it's I guarantee anybody saying that doesn't only listen to the most technical, complicated music out there. I mean, there are lots of talented technical musicians out there, but that's the thing. You get a band like Polyphia, if you're familiar with Polyphia, who are crazy technical, and then they get flack because they're too technical, and people are like, this sounds like robots playing guitar. And it's like, well, you're never going to make everyone happy. It's a matter of taste, and that's okay. You can have different tastes. Just be honest about it. Just be like, I don't like that they sound like Zeppelin. I'd rather listen to Zeppelin. Fine. That's fine. But to say that they suck or they're not talented, I don't know about that one, Chief.
All right. Now's as good a time as any to talk about some of our sponsors. It's been a while since I've done this. And you know what? I miss it. I like talking about all these sponsors because not only are they helping us to keep this show rolling all the time, the party train all night long, daytime, whatever, they are following us along on the journey and helping us along the way. So let's talk about them right now. First of all, you probably see some of these records behind me, and there are so many more in this room. And then some. I get them from Backtrack Records. I go to all the record stores, but I find myself going to Backtrack Records all the time. I mean, what can I say about it? I've been telling you guys, I like the fact that I can go the earliest part of the day, go there, thumb through the records. I don't have to elbow you guys out of the way for those, crazy Dwight Yoakam's 8th album or, Elvis's album while he was on the toilet or something like that. It was, I get it all, everybody. I am a bottom of the billionaire, if you will, and I am going to Backtrack Records, and I know you will too. So go to Backtrack Records, tell them that Scratch the Vinyl sent you, and I promise you they will high five you and give you some of those sweet deals. Next, we have Loco Design. What is Loco Design? It is Adam Lohman, the man with the plan, the man, the myth himself, and he is going loco for you, for designing business ideas, business plans, marketing, all of that type of stuff. He does it all. So get a hold of Adam. Check out loco.com. That's LOHCO.com. ask for Adam. And I promise you, if you want to build a business and really get things going, get your social media up, get all of that, get your numbers up, you will not be disappointed with Loco Design. We have Lil Bill's Barbecue. I haven't talked about them in a while. Why? Because I had at one point consumed so much of it. I was literally bursting at the seams. I looked like the blueberry or whatever on Willy Wonka. I mean, you were rolling me out of the room. I enjoyed it so much. So I had to take a break from it for a moment so that so that I didn't explode. And now that I'm back to championship form, I am inserting it into my muscles again, like Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior or something. And I'm going absolutely nuts. The word on the street is that they're going to have me. That's right, me. Main event WrestleMania this year. You guys don't know it yet, but you heard it here first. It's all because of Lil Bill's Barbecue. So get it. You can find him on Facebook Marketplace under Lil Bill's, not Little Bill's, Lil, Lil Bill's Barbecue. And I promise you, it is some of the best flavors you've ever had. Locally, it's unbelievable. But if I were you, I suggest buying it and just drinking it as a beverage. So Lil Bill's Barbecue. Last but not least, we have Roots Music Shop. Roots Music, I love it so much. I was there the other day. I basically loaf around and hang out there all the time. There's a little bench outside, and a lot of times I'll just sleep there, or I'll hide out in the deepest, darkest crevices, and I'll pop out at Ryan and ask him about some guitar pedal that I'm looking for, and I love it so much. Roots Music Shop has been around forever now. I can't even count the years. It's been around forever. I've been going there since its inception, since day one, and Ryan has always done me right. So I know a lot of you musicians out there that are listening, you guys need gear. You guys need a place to go to buy, sell, trade, and there's no better place to go. Ryan has it all. He also has some records to thumb through. He's got drums covered. He's got an acoustic guitar room with a bunch of cool guitars and banjos and ukuleles and all sorts of things. He's got some very high profile guitars. He's got all sorts of things, and he's got those beginner guitars. He's got it all there. He's got parts to everything. He's got mics. I love it, and I know you will too. It's fun to just go there every week and see what Ryan has. So don't cheat yourself, everybody. Get to Roots Music Shop. Well, which this can roll into my next thought, which is I know that you do a bunch of playlists. You have some really cool playlists out there, and we're in a time right now where playlists kind of rule. I know that physical copies are making a comeback. We just talked about it a couple weeks ago where vinyl sales eclipse the billions. Thank you to Taylor Swift, I'm sure, for helping with that. But people are out buying in droves. It doesn't hurt that new albums are like $60 and you can buy all the different colors. But it's pretty cool that it eclipsed like sales from like the 80s when it was in its heyday. But we're in a still playlist heavy culture, and whether we like the Spotify's of the world and what they're doing to artists and everything. And maybe Lars Ulrich was right about Napster. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But, hey, it's out there. And the best part about it, Josh, and I think you probably feel this way too, is you can dive into people's catalogs, everything that they have. And then you can find, my favorite part is finding the adjacent musicians to that person. So I will spend hours before bed or whatever curating playlists and just building off of the best. I will take every artist I can get a hold of and I'll dig at least 2 or 3 songs from their albums. But it's just such a different way of listening. You don't listen with the intention of the full album all the time like you would an album on vinyl. So like when you're curating these playlists, like what possesses you to do it? And I mean, are you liking the new digital world, or do you miss like the physical copy world?
Yeah, I mean, I was, for most of my life, I was very much but I never got into vinyl because I didn't have like a way to play it and stuff. But I was very much of the CD age, and I bought CDs. Circuit City went out of business, and I went in there and got a bunch of cheap CDs because they were selling them off the shelf. And some of my favorite albums are from buying that, things like that. And I've always been very much like, put that CD on, listen to the album start to finish. I still believe in that. I still do that a lot of the time. But yeah, I mean, the environment changes, and we do it like, as musicians, we do it for ourselves. We're going to do it the way we want to do it, but also listeners are going to listen how they want to listen. And so, yeah, there are people like me, and I'm sure there are lots of people that still listen to albums start to finish, and they always kind of will. But artists now too are doing what they call like this waterfall method of releasing, where they don't even put out an album all at once. They put out a single and then another single and another single. And next thing you know, they've got 10 singles out. Like, by the way, that's the album, and here it is. And then it's on, it's on streaming, and it's done. And now you've got a whole album. And there's nothing wrong with that per se, right? It's just another way to get your music out, and it's a way to keep people kind of paying attention, right? And some of it's marketing, and that's, you can have your opinions about marketing one way or another. We could argue about that all day long. I'm not gonna, but again, like, people keep seeing, oh, they've got a new song, and then a few weeks later they've got another new song, and they've got another new song, and so it just shows that you're active and you're going and doing that. And so the playlists that I work on primarily are finding those new releases from Nebraska bands and getting them out there. So like right now, we're kind of at the start of spring. I've been breaking them up into seasons so they don't get gigantic. But so I'm trying to work on, it's just called Spring in Nebraska, and it's just going to be every song that I can find that came out from like a Nebraska artist basically is going to go on that playlist. And then I do listen to my own playlist too, because I like the songs on there. So I'll sit there and, I'll turn on the Winter in Nebraska playlist, and I'll just listen to all of those. And it's a way of, enjoying new music, but also knowing what the people in my scene are doing and what's being made right now. And not just, the same CD I was listening to, that same Zeppelin 2 album from 50 years ago. Again, it's still a great album, but it's also nice to support those artists that are doing it right now. And, they're still alive, and they still need that money, and they're still trying to do the thing right now. And so that's been my big thing. And it is kind of nice to be able to have those things at my fingertips. I mean, you couldn't have done that in the CD age, right? Or the vinyl age, or, tapes. Like, no, you're not going to sell a CD with one song on it, you're just not. So it's a nice way to be like, yeah, we finished this song. Here it is. You put it on a playlist with other songs, whether they're similar genres or like in my case, similar location wise. And you can just be like, what's Nebraska sound like this winter? And this is what came out. So it's a lot of fun to have that and be able to do that with ease, for sure.
Well, I mean, I dug into those a little bit, and I tried that a while back. I have a homegrown Nebraska playlist that's very similar to yours, but you had way more like you had a lot of different artists that I'd never even heard of. So I really enjoy that part of it. And I think that that's the fun of having Spotify or whatever you have, whatever you use. I have a playlist that I think I mentioned last week that's 162 hours and counting, and just continues. And that's like a catch-all for me. Like that one, it's called the Heavy Heart playlist. I'm not telling you guys, it's a playlist for me. I don't really care if anybody else, but it's just my catch-all where I hit shuffle. And to me, shuffle is the greatest part of it, because I like that surprise of, ooh, I forgot this, but I'll have anything from the Carpenters, which I'm a huge fan of, to, whatever, Black Oak, Arkansas will come up, Tupac will be next. It's what I like to call the devil's jukebox. So however you like to consume it. But, Josh, I know we don't have a lot of time, so I do want to, I want to point people to your socials and also to what you're doing next. If you have some projects coming up aside from just the festival.
Yeah. I mean, the festival is obviously going to be the number one thing I want everybody to go to because, like you said, I do hope that it can be an annual thing. I hope it's something that goes really well, and then we can do it again next year, bring in even more bands, eventually maybe pull in bands from out of state and make this like a big thing. So that's the big thing. Where you can find out about that and the playlists, the account that I run on Instagram is called Crater Shine. It's like like Moonlight, Crater Shine type of thing. And that's where I post the playlists. Any artists out there, that's where I post to support whenever I see that you release new stuff. That's how I go about. I sit there for hours looking at all those bands' posts. And when they say they release something, that's how it ends up on my playlist. But I accept submissions, all that stuff. So that's how you can hear about those different things. And what I do on that regard for the community itself. So that's like my account for like the music community in general. It's separate from my band, which again is Within Wilds. You can find that Instagram all over all the medias basically. So we are kind of in the recording-ish process. Who knows when something will come out? We put out an EP last year that exists all over the internet and things. But you'll eventually see maybe some singles or something coming out. Maybe we might try to maybe get one out before the festival as a way to kind of build that promo a little bit. So those are the two ways you can find me, or you can find me at shows. I go to shows all the time. I'm at a show, 2, 3, 4 times a month. So see me at Duffy's, see me at wherever, bodegas, all those places. I go there. This probably isn't obvious, but I'm kind of an introvert. But if you see me out there and you recognize me, come say hi, because I might not, because I'm going to be in my little introvert bubble enjoying the music. But come say hi, say I'm in this band, and I'll be like, I've probably heard of you. And we'll chat about whatever you want. And see me at shows. That's the real place. Internet's awesome. Shows are more awesome. So let's see each other there.
Well, I really hope that I see you out in the wild, and especially at this festival. I hope I can make it out, and I know it's going to be a resounding success. And man, I know Randy's not here, so it's awkward. Me, and the voices in my head right now. We just wish you the best of luck, and we're so glad that you decided to come on the show. And once again, you are a fine example of how much talent we have here. And I know people don't like that. It's kind of awkward, like, oh man, I hate, but it's got to feel good. You're doing a great job in music, my friend. And I wish you the best. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Really fun to be on.
All right, Lincolnites, the Scratchaholics out there. Scratchamania is running so wild right now. Their muscles are bursting at the seams. They're almost like the Ultimate Warrior at this point, and they are just going wild, shaking the ropes. And you guys are listening, and you keep growing this show. It's a grassroots movement, everybody. So let's keep the grass growing. Let's keep this show going. And thank you guys so much for listening. Tune in every week. We do it here on
Scratch the Vinyl. Scratch the Vinyl.